ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Kent Holste podcast right here on KentHolstePodcast.com and as well as the YouTube channel. I'm so glad you decided to click this link and join in the conversation, as today I'm going to be talking about the things around you. You know, when the podcast first got started, I did a video that I somehow lost through all the transitions and various different changes that this podcast has done and grown and seen throughout the couple years. And I talked about how we don't think about the things around us, how we don't utilize the time that we have to see the beauty of the world, but more importantly, the beauty of the life that we have around us within our own family and personal life. You know, just recently, I've talked about the trip that I made to Kansas. And I want to talk to you about really a moment within that trip where it was really nice to just enjoy the surroundings. Now, keep in mind, there's two different sides of the state of Kansas where my family is from. My dad is from Midwest Kansas, very, very close to the Nebraska-Colorado border. And then my mom's side of the family was very, very close, even more closer to the Nebraska side of the border, but was quite a distance away, but nearby to the Missouri side of things. So on one side, it was very easy to have distractions like cell phone service, being able to see what's going on within the world. But on the other side, where my dad is from, cell phone coverage was not easy. In fact, depending on what cell phone provider or carrier you had, you either had service or you didn't. Now, just recently within this trip, I was able to experience life without social media, without a cell phone service. I mean, I could make phone calls, but as far as data, I wasn't able to go on to Snapchat and see what people were posting, and it's strange. It's strange not having the ability to see things when you want to see it. But most importantly, it is strange not having that distraction from getting notifications about Steve posted this, or Alicia is live, watch their live video, or a news story pops up, or a notification about a crime that just happened, or silly little notifications about weather alerts, like a slight rain is in your area. None of that is in existence in that area. unless you have Wi-Fi or you have a really good cell phone provider. But also in this area, there's a population of 60, roughly, and a population of around 12 to 1,400 people. Maybe even a little bit more than that. There is no such thing as a Walmart. There's no such thing as a McDonald's, but there is and has been always a little small town Pizza Hut. But just recently, just like anywhere else, there's a Dollar General now in this small little town. But besides that, there's nothing corporate. It's all mom and pop, little gas stations. There's little mom and pop auto body shops, tractor repair shops. And once you get out into the country where my aunt and uncle and my cousins all are from, there's nothing around you but farmland. So during that time I was out there, I was staying out in the farm, and every morning I would get up around 6 o'clock, have a cup of coffee, walk outside, watch the sunrise pop over the rolling hills of cattle grazing, and not hearing any sounds of helicopters or vehicles, people talking, just peace. And if you're not familiar with that type of lifestyle, you don't understand until you don't have any of those distractions about just how peaceful and how relaxing it really is. We don't really think about, when you're living in cities or anything, what it's like to not have distractions, and you literally have to come up with ways to stay busy or just enjoy the fact that you're not around any of that. When was the last time you went somewhere and just did nothing? Perhaps maybe you did the same thing and just walked outside with a nice cup of coffee or tea and looked at the surroundings and realized just how lucky you are to be alive. That you're lucky to experience a life where you can enjoy peace and happiness. Now, obviously, we're in the month and time where school is out and families start having reunions, and obviously this was a time where it was just that. I come from a very large family on my dad's side, and we've talked about this already. But it was so amazing being able to not have those distractions, but yet be able to enjoy time with family, to talk, to hear old stories about the history of the family from the aunts and uncles talking. And on this trip, I was able to hear great uncles and aunts talk about the history of the family, and I've learned things about the original farm, which was started in 1886 in a small little, at the time, nothing but farmland, nothing but rolling hills, and if that, maybe there wasn't even farmland at that time. Maybe it was just open fields. Could you imagine what it would be like to be a settler? Claiming land? It had to be so incredible, especially the times where this was still active days of the military and the Native Americans that roamed this country, having battles and wars. You know, we think about the year 2018 or even 2019, and now here we are in 2021. And man, has the way society and how everything once was changed, but yet so much is still the same. I also had an opportunity to see one of the small town's little museums of that little small town, but also the surrounding county. And all the relics and things that people held on to, or when these people passed, family members donated to this museum to show the heritage and the people that grew up in this county. It's truly amazing. But during this trip, something amazing happened. Me and my uncle were just hanging out in this museum, and all of a sudden, this guy that was from Washington, D.C., apparently was in and out of this town for 30 years, trying to find this battle that supposedly happened within this county, ranging from a town that was about 15, 20 minutes away, coming all the way towards where my family's farmland was located. Now, supposedly this guy was talking all excited about how there could have been this war with, well, not really a war, but a battle between, you know, the military at that time and these Indians that were apparently a nuisance to the cavalry or whatever. And apparently the cavalry found out that they were hiding, and they chased him all the way to this supposed area where my family's farm is, or farmland is. And apparently, you know, after all his research, he found out that the military came up with this plan to surround him in this little horseshoe area. And within the confines of their wagons would surround them and drive around them, meanwhile taking them out. Now, there's some Native American blood within me, and I love American history, and that's no surprise if you know me. But hearing all this as this guy was talking, my excitement and the thrill of knowing that there could be a possibility that there was some sort of battle on my family's land was exciting to me. It made me enjoy this trip, and it made me enjoy the surroundings of where I grew up every summer even more. Now, I don't know an update of what happened from there, but I would definitely love to find out. During that time, I was able to go visit and say hello to my late grandma and grandpa, along with my great uncle who recently passed away, and a second cousin who passed away way too early. that are laying to rest in an old cemetery in between two of my family members' farmlands. I always make it a point to go visit because obviously I've talked about the significance of my grandma. But now that my great uncle has passed away, there's more reason to go there and visit as well. Those surroundings in that area have so much meaning. And as a kid, it's funny how you don't really realize the significance and the beauty of not just the land that's around there and how peaceful it is. But now that I'm an adult, I do. And it's nice to be able to just get away and enjoy moments like that. You know, I encourage you, if you're listening to this, to take that time to go find your history of your family. Find out who you are and find out the beauty of within your family life. Now, obviously, I know not everybody's family comes from a close knit like mine. I wish people did. But knowing where you come from, knowing where your family all began, can really impact your life in a significant way. Maybe you come from a family of farmers. Maybe you come from a family that started and moved to this country as a butcher, or maybe your family moved here as, very wealthy, and they didn't have to lay a hand or a finger on anything because everything was made to their liking and brought to them, and they didn't have to work. But as future generations came in, things obviously changed, but they inherited all this amazing, cool things or properties. But I mean, how many of you have taken that time to really enjoy where you come from? What stories have you heard from your family that are really inspiring or just funny to hear? My aunts and uncles in our family, we like to kind of sit in a circle and kind of talk. We like to share stories and hear how everybody's doing. And it's more than just the circle of trust or whatever from the movie of Meet the Fockers, Meet the Parents would be a better way of saying it. But in my family, it's really a thing, But hearing stories of how they grew up, or the grandparents or their grandparents, it's quite fascinating. But when was the last time you really showed interest? I feel like we get so wrapped within our own personal lives, we don't really get that opportunity to sit back and really think about or try to understand why things are within our families. And maybe if you do, maybe you'll have a little bit more respect and an understanding as to why things have played out the way that they have within your life. Maybe you want to be a better parent. Maybe you want to be a better grandparent. Maybe you want to offer your future generations the knowledge and everything else that maybe they wouldn't have if you didn't share. I'm a firm believer that, no one's going to know the past or these amazing stories of how the family came to be unless it gets talked about. But it's funny, the more people talk about the history and the way the heritage all began, the more smiles you hear, or see. Well, you can hear smiles, but you can see them as well. It makes you really appreciate where you come from or where you're standing right now in your life. Because I've never had it all. And neither has my parents, and neither has anybody in that family that grew up from that heritage of 1886. Everybody has worked hard. Nothing was ever just handed to them. They had to earn everything. But everybody realizes that the more work you put into your life, the more you can enjoy the things around you. Or the more you realize the significance of life and what's around you, the more respect you can have for it. Because I guarantee you, I never really did. I always talk about how selfish I was. When I went down there as a kid, or up there now, I never really understood anything because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to be selfish. I didn't care about what other people wanted to do. I didn't care what other people wanted to say. But now I do. I want to hear stories. I want to be around the people that I care about, so I can tell my kids about who we are and where we come from. Now, yes, I may be adopted, and this is from my adoptive family, but, it's even better because I get to share 2 points of view of various different lifestyles. And maybe that will help them realize just how unique and special life is, but how sensitive it can be. Because not everybody has that family life where everything's civil, where people can come to each other in times of grieving and know that everything's going to be okay. The whole trip between both sides of the family and all that has been an amazing experience, especially coming off of the past year that we all had to live with this virus. This virus changed our lives, but it also made us respect and enjoy what we used to be able to enjoy all the time. So when we have these reunions, or we're able to go travel and see certain places that we enjoy, maybe you're, I don't want to call it religious, but your annual thing you would do during the summer is go travel and go to a beach somewhere, or maybe you do just have a reunion every summer. But it was weird not being able to do that, right? And now that, a lot of these restrictions have been lifted, and we don't have to wear face masks or whatever, and we're seeing family members hug and give affection to each other. It almost seems strange, doesn't it? But it sure makes you admire and love taking in those surroundings. So if there's one thing that we can take from this podcast today, it's number one, learn about where you come from, so you can have a better respect about where you come from and what your surroundings were and are today. Number two, take every opportunity to enjoy your surroundings, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be that quiet place in the middle of nowhere or that busy beach crowded with people. But take in the beauty of the water hitting the shores, or hearing the seagulls and all that stuff on the ocean. Maybe it's traveling in the mountains and you're going hiking and finding huckleberries or blueberries. And you're taking in the beauty as you look down into the valleys, or you look down the hills and you see the beauty that way. Or maybe you're like me and you have family that live on farms in the middle of nowhere, in the heart of America, where the hard workers are the people that give the grain that we have in our foods, or give and produce the milk that we see in our shopping carts, or even the meat that we eat when we go to the butcher at the local grocery store and we grab those slices of chicken or beef or pork. And you think about where your family came from, and maybe they're still there and they're still producing those things for people to live on. And you think about that land, and you think about those quiet times where there's nobody else around but you. And you do hear those birds chirping. You do hear those crickets. You do see those roaming cattle out in the distance. And you think to yourself, man, this is nice. But most importantly, the family that surrounds you, whether it be your own kids, your own wife or husband, or whether it is your aunts and uncles, cousins, or even your grandparents, great-grandparents, great-uncles, great-aunts, second cousins, or whatever else is down the line from that. And you take advantage of just getting to hear what's going on with their life, or reminiscing about the times when they were growing up, or when you were growing up. Think about those times. Think about the beauty in the life that's around you. It's not about personal possessions. It's not about whether you got that high-speed water boat in your garage or outside. It's not about that big old jacked up pickup truck that you work so hard to get. It's not about those toys. Those are all possessions. They're nothing. Are those truly your happiness? Because if they are, and they are overruling the people around you that are your flesh and your blood, who have helped create you and make you the person that you are today, then you need to reevaluate yourself and think about how you can change that. Because if you're not showing respect to what's around you and showing respect to the beauty that has been created by God or whoever you look at as a higher power, or whether you believe it was something else, this is all not here just because. It's there because it was made for us to really look at and enjoy. And trust me, there's nothing spectacular about rolling hills in the middle of farmland and in Kansas, but you can sure find some sort of beauty. You can be all in the beauty of mountains and streams and all that, or you could be in dry land. But I'm sure there's some sort of beauty that you can find that can bring you peace, that can make you realize just how lucky you are to be you. Or you can find reasons to motivate yourself to be a better you. You know, there's no reason to be depressed about what you don't have, because you can change that by giving everything you've ever wanted just by being a good person, by respecting others, by making a good name for yourself, by representing your last name so the people that are in your life that can carry on that legacy can tell the life and the stories that you lived because they were that darn amazing. So think about that. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. I hope that you took something out of this. Feel free to share stories about your family, your legacy, how everything got started within your life and your family's lives, and put that in the comment spot below. And when we come back, we'll wrap things up right here on the Kent Holste podcast. Hey everyone, I just want to take this time to thank you for tuning in to today's show. Without your support and watching these videos, this podcast wouldn't be where it's at today. And the same goes for the website as well, and the YouTube channel. So to help me out even more, if you haven't done so yet, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified when a new, amazing content comes out. Also, don't forget to check out all the other social media sites as well, and like, share, and comment, and subscribe there too. It all is being a part of this community where we can come together and show that we care for one another, so we can motivate and encourage others. So thanks again for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the show. So thank you for listening in today. I really appreciate you guys. You're not just my friends, you are my family, and I just wanted to remind you of that. I hope everybody takes the opportunity during this time of summer to really take a break, get away, and refine yourself, rekindle that energy that you need to go into the rest of this year and make the most out of it, and make the ending of this hopeful virus seem like this year was the best it could have been. I know seeing my family and spending time with people that I love and care about really rekindled my energy, remotivated me, and I can't wait to use that energy and share my life experiences with you guys even more to help motivate you and encourage you to be at your best. Because I know not everybody has it easy. We all have our struggles. We all deal with things that cause us to judge ourselves. We get so much anxiety because we aren't the same people as we used to be. We've lost so much within this past year and a half. And we've kind of lost ourselves. And we've got to fix that. And the best way to do that is just focusing on the world that's around you. Maybe all it takes is going and seeing where your heritage is from. Seeing the homesteads or the places that things got started. Maybe it's just seeing our nation's history, like visiting the Oregon Trail or Lewis and Clark, or going to the nation's capital and seeing the history of our country and how it was formed and why it was formed the way that it was. Maybe it's just going to the ocean, going fishing, going skydiving, experiencing life thrills that you never thought that you were able to do. Or maybe it's just going where you live and discovering new places that are peaceful and calming. Or maybe it's just within your own home and finding new ways to enjoy time with your family. Discovering new things about them that maybe you wouldn't have known if you just didn't ask. So I encourage you to do that today. Remember to think and be positive during all this. Like I said, not everybody's family life is as close-knit and as cool as other people's. You know, sometimes there is a lot of depressing things that have happened through the family line of things. But maybe you'll have a better respect for yourself because of it, because you know that you're better than that. So be positive, because I believe in you. Don't you think you should too? Do what you can, not what you can't, to discover who you are and what brings you at peace. Seeing the beauty that's around you, whether it be certain places or whether it is just right at home, right in the own confines of your own walls. I encourage you to find it. And if you see someone who served our military, or even someone who is a police officer, fire, medical, anybody who serves our country or who has served our country, give them an elbow, give them a fist bump, tell them how much you appreciate them. You never know how much they might appreciate that one random act of kindness. So do that today. And once again, I really appreciate you taking the time to tune in and listen to this. I hope that you all stay safe. And until the next time we talk, God bless.